You know, we're going to talk about a lot of great stuff today. Kenny Dillingham, Bobby Hurley, Molly Miller, but our final segment, we're going to be snake drafting sandwiches.
Happy Wednesday! Welcome to the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Make sure you join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Guys, visit CircleK.com for details. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by my sous chef, Erik Ruby. We've got the captain of this lovely ship, Captain Redbeard behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Guys, pour one out and hit the like button. Captain Redbeard with just 3 shows left on the docket for PHNX Sun Devils.
The final snake draft.
My goodness. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and you drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. We got a lot to get into today. Sharon in the chat. What's up, Sharon? The mother of PHNX Sun Devils, if you will. We're talking Kenny Dillingham, Bobby Hurley, and then Molly Miller. We've seen Kenny Dillingham built a champion in just 2 seasons. Can Bobby Hurley rein it in and get a champion in his potential final season in Tempe? And can Molly Miller carry over that success from GCU to ASU? Plus, you teased it. We got a snake draft, our first one of the season. I think the preseason was probably that 24-hour stream. I think we are locked and loaded to draft some sandwiches.
So we're not counting your dominant.
No, it was a preseason.
Wow,
it was
that's
a preseason.
Big of you.
It was a preseason.
I would not do the same.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would take all those wins and I would rub it in everybody's faces.
We're built differently.
I guess
we're built differently. I'm excited to get the season underway.
Okay.
How do you feel, Captain Redbeard? Going. I mean, you're one and done here, man.
I know. I'm glad you didn't count the ones from before because I did awful in that 24-hour stream.
Who counts the preseason?
Yeah, so I'm ready today.
This is like Kobe's last game. He better put up 60.
I mean,
yeah.
Goodness gracious. Do you want to dive straight into the blueprint of a champion?
Can we start with a sandwich? No. Yeah, let's talk about Kenny Dillingham's path to today.
Yeah.
To success.
I mean, we all know, him being here as a GA. We talked to Todd last season about kind of how Kenny got his start at ASU. We know of the coaching prowess from Memphis to Auburn to Florida State to Oregon, but I think when we take a look at how Bobby Hurley and Molly Miller can kind of replicate what Kenny has done in just 2 seasons, I think it starts with immediately the roster, right? We'll get into the fan support and the whole Activate the Valley and the media and all those different things, but the thing that sticks out to me most about what Kenny Dillingham did when he first got to Arizona State is he really did retool this roster, right? There was a number of guys either out of eligibility that entered the portal that Kenny had to go into the portal, and in year 1, he had to find gems. And if you go back and look at some of the names that Kenny was able to snag from the portal in his first year, it's remarkable, especially looking back to last season and seeing the success. Tell me, as I name some of these guys, if they were impact players on a Big 12 champion last year. Clayton Smith.
Yeah.
Xavier Alford.
I think so.
Cam Scadaboo.
That jury's still out on that one.
Jordan Tyson.
Yeah.
Shamari Simmons.
I think so, yeah.
Lee Fautanu.
Sure.
And Ben Coleman.
Man, I mean, maybe a couple.
Got all of those guys in his very first portal cycle, and several names that I didn't even list on there that were impact guys.
All starters on the Big 12 champion college football playoff team.
All starters, right? Xavier Alford was just a ridiculous addition to this roster, and you get him back for a 3rd season.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't play his first year at ASU.
You got a Heisman candidate. You have a now Blitnikoff candidate. You have
your starting center
who's going to go to the NFL. Hopefully, he finds some success there. Now your starting center. And Ben Coleman, Clayton Smith, one of your most impactful guys on the line. And then Shamari Simmons, who everybody here is really high on at the next level, but if he was playing in the first half of that game against Texas, a lot of people, not just ASU fans, think that that game would turn out differently. So you're talking about every single one of those players playing a massive role in the best season that ASU's had in 2 decades.
Literally in 2 decades. And if you go back again and kind of look at, where these guys were at some of their previous stops and the contributions that they were able to have, at their previous schools before they got to ASU, like these guys weren't necessarily all impact players at other universities, right? Like minus a Jordan Tyson, who had a really strong freshman campaign.
Scott was good at Sac
before
State,
he got hurt.
It was Sac State.
Exactly. Leaf, I believe, was coming from UNLV off the top of my head. Clayton Smith was coming from Oklahoma, but he was, I think a sophomore at that point or a redshirt freshman and didn't really play at Oklahoma. Shamari had come from a smaller school, I think Austin P, if I'm remembering correctly. Like these guys, he found gems. He found gems in the portal. And I think we can talk about the whole idea of these guys were really talented, but maybe they didn't succeed at their other schools for a number of reasons. I think what it comes down to is Kenny had a vision of, hey, these are the types of players that we want in our program. Yeah. So do they meet that standard of the culture? Can they build a culture? Because that's something that was needed. And do they have talent that maybe wasn't exhausted in the correct ways?
Yeah, I think that if you're looking at one of probably the top 3 reasons why this program was able to get flipped on its head so fast, it's going to sound so basic. It's that Kenny Dillingham knew what he was doing. He knows the sport. He knows how to evaluate talent. He's a good coach. Like, he's good at his job. You can talk about how much he cares. You can talk about the fact that he wants to be at ASU and activating the Valley and all of that, which is important.
It's true too.
But none of that matters. You can have that desire all you want. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, like I want to activate the Valley, but I would be a terrible head football coach at Arizona State.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Finding this type of talent and finding a staff around you that thinks similarly that you then enable to go help and find that talent, and especially ones that aren't going to be able to play for a year due to injury or other reasons. That's not something that I feel like 90-something% of coaches can do successfully and can do at the level that Kenny did.
Yeah.
And then have the patience to see it all play out through a terrible year and hold strong to your vision. That takes a lot of internal fortitude to be like, you know what? I do know what I'm doing, and that paid off.
Yeah, he believed. He believed in in his vision, in his blueprint of how you get Arizona State on top. And part of that was that first transfer portal cycle, like we mentioned, but it was also that year 1 recruiting class and talking about patience and development and seeing guys that, again, fit the mold while also seeing what the talent brings, right? Jacob bringing up developing some of those high school guys, Keith Abney, Montana Warren, CJ Fight, Sean Na, Kyson Brown, were all a part of Kenny's first recruiting class at ASU. None of them had a ridiculous impact as a true freshman. Right? Did they play their respective roles? Yes. Whether that was rotational guys starting like a CJ Fight, whether that was strictly developmental like Montana Warren, guys kind of thrust into positions because of other circumstances like a Sean Na, a Kyson Brown at times. But again, you look to year 3, we already talked about the number of guys that had an impact from the year 1 of transfer portal that could be coming back this season, that will be coming back this season. And then you look at the recruiting class in year 1, and you get to year 3 of Dilly and you see where those guys
you look
are
at
projected
some of your best
to be.
players.
Literally, a Keith Abney, a starting corner, a Montana Warren, a starting nickel, CJ Fight, starting nose tackle, Kyson Brown, potentially a starting running back, and Sean Na, a starter on the offensive line.
That's a big hit.
He knocked it out of the park.
Like, again, how often does a first-time head coach walk in and take that kind of gamble? And 3 years later, they're all still on the team.
All still on the team.
Right? And obviously coming off last season, it's a lot easier to retain, but we've seen schools that hit the top of the top, the Georgias, the Bamas, the Oregons, the Auburn. Like, we've seen that these teams lose a ton of players after having successful seasons.
Yeah.
Right? So as easy as it might seem to say, of course you retain your entire young core after a championship run. It's an interesting sound.
Someone's drilling.
Awesome.
It's the blueprint.
Yeah, that's Bobby at work up top. If you guys can hear that.
That is awesome. Bobby, if you can hear me, drill harder.
Louder. Yeah, not many things can stop me from talking. That was one of the
That's awesome. What the heck is that? Okay. Well,
I guarantee you that's not the last time that's going to happen.
well,
I bet people can't even hear it, and we just sound like we're going crazy.
potentially.
This is gonna suck.
We hear Bobby Hurley figuring it out. What is going on? Hey, Rome, can you come here real quick? Yeah,
I mean, this is just
or
incredible.
Kevin, come here.
I mean, this is just incredible.
Come here. This is podcasting,
This is
baby.
content.
What is that noise?
What is going on?
Do you hear that noise?
Are they drilling in that office over there? Or is that upstairs?
No, I actually heard it's the men's basketball program at ASU crumbling here in
See, this
That's
is where I
great,
was
man.
asking a
That's
genuine
great, man.
question.
No,
You enjoy Brent Brennan.
That's my answer.
Did you hear that noise though?
No, yeah, we all heard it. We don't know what it is. Me and Damon heard like a siren on our show.
Okay.
So maybe it's end times. Is what I'm I think it's like
The chat
They
cannot
can't hear it. Chat's saying
Chat
they can't
can't
hear
hear
it. We just, see, the thing is, we just sound like we're going insane.
Crazy.
That's fine. We hear it. Maybe it's the voices.
Ben says you don't sound like you're going crazy. We already know you're going
Yeah,
crazy.
I guess that's valid.
Hey, shout
I
out
guess
these
that's valid.
microphones, though, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love that.
for drowning
Love
out the rest
that.
of the sound.
We can hear the drill.
We're just going to be completely distracted for the rest of this
It's
show.
fine. It is what it is.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah.
They're all on the team.
They're also on the team. And as easy as it sounds to retain after a good season, when guys have great seasons, other schools start calling with bags. They say, hey, that was great what you did over there. Come to our school. We'll pay you this much. And then, of course, they stuck around after a 3-win season as young players when we've seen some people get to their third school by their second year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to invest in these kids. You have to bet that they're going to want to be there. And that's why when Kenny's like, yeah, I have a vision and I want people who want to be here, that's paid out now 3 years later. You're talking about maybe the best defense in the Big 12 due to continuity and talent, one of the best offenses in the Big 12 and maybe in the country behind a potential Heisman winner in Sam Levitt, potential Blitnikoff winner in Jordan Tyson. And I know Levitt isn't somebody we've talked about yet, but he still falls under the how did Kenny Dillingham build this properly pipeline.
Yeah, I think that's 100% true. And again, we're just looking at year one, and we know that team went 3-9 in a loaded Pac-12, right? At that time, Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, like looking back, that was a crazy Pac-12 that Arizona State had to go through. But the patience behind it, also aside from the roster, building a staff, right? Building a staff of coaches and guys that aren't just coaches, guys that are leaders of men. I know that's a cliche thing, but if you want to truly get these kids to stay at your program and fit the vibe and the culture of what you got going on, then you also have to have a staff around you that believes in the vision, and similar to what you want from the players, they have to want to be here. And Kenny had a staff in his back pocket of guys that he knew that if he ever got this opportunity at Arizona State, that they would come with him and they would want to stay here. Obviously, you had the whole offensive coordinator situation a couple games into year one. Love the fact that Dilly saw the problem, took over the play calling.
Figured it out in the
offseason
offseason then too.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Hit it out of the park with Marcus Arroyo,
Yeah.
right? So again, these are all things in year one and early in the year two that Kenny was able to do to try and steer the ship toward his vision. I was just gonna say one last thing about the offensive coordinator that just kind of like came to my mind is we look back on these last couple of years and it's like, oh man, look at all these like great things and it's all paid off. This program's gone through a lot of crap since Kenny took over. The sanctions right before year one of taking away any possibility of bowl eligibility, even if you don't think that team was going to make it, that still stings That's
for
a mental
guys
hurdle.
who believe, right? After the first season, all of your top talent that was contributing. No, that was contributing for the year. They all left.
Yeah.
Right?
Jordan Clark, Jalen Conyers, Elijah Badger,
BJ
Green. Yeah, you had a number of guys.
And then eventually Rashada leaves, who was kind of your blue chip guy. Like you weren't just like, hey, everything's peachy keen, hunky dory. You had to get rid of your offensive coordinator. You lost basically all of your production minus Cam Scadaboo on the offensive end from the year before, right? You went through an enormous amount of injuries. Like you won 3 games on the season. You were picked last in the Big 12 media poll, but none of those things stopped what was the end focus.
Yeah.
And I feel like that always gets glossed over now that they're successful is people are like, oh yeah, he just stood strong and this is what happened. It's like, man, it takes a lot of guts.
It does.
To stand by what you did when what was happening in the moment.
Well, and that goes to, again, some of what makes Kenny Dillingham's blueprint to success so clear, right? Is we always talk about Kenny, being different than other coaches, whether that be because he's young, his personality, whatever. But during that 3-9 season and leading up to that 3-9 season, media access was always the craziest that it's always been in terms of like, hey, you can come out and see all this. Yes, there are certain rules that need to be followed, right? But at the end of the day, the media had the access. He welcomed the media to try and help build as a voice of the community, to really get the whole Activate the Valley bought into it, right? So you had the media. There were honest but not necessarily overly harsh press conferences, right? Which I think, again, people were like, I love Kenny for that, right? He is echoing what the fan base is
Immediately.
feeling, right? So you have that coupled with roster, with a vision, with a staff, and then you get to year 2, right? And you're able to retain a good chunk of the talent that you have. A lot of the guys that you wanted to bring back. The young talent, guys with a year left of eligibility. And then you retool the roster some more because you still have a bunch of Herms guys or guys that maybe don't fit the mold. And you don't go as crazy in the transfer portal, but you still, you pick your spots, right? So in that second transfer portal cycle, who does Kenny add? You had Keyshawn Elliott and Cyrus Fiaseu and Jordan Crook. You had your entire linebacking crew on top of, you get Martell Hughes in your second recruiting class. You get Caleb McCullough back, which a guy they believed in. You get a guy in Justin Watley up front, a guy that's been to the college football playoff before with Cincinnati. And then you get your quarterback. You get Sam Leavitt, the redshirt freshman from Michigan State, and you couple that with everything that you have already built, and you can start to see the wave, right? You get that first win bigger than most people thought it was going to be. And then it really starts to steamroll. You pack Mountain America Stadium because people want to go watch a winner, right?
And he would always acknowledge that. He's like, you know, sometimes our fans get crap. He's like, but they want to watch a winner, and you have to win for them to show up. But even like at Camp T and fall ball and stuff, like you saw fans were way more invested in this program even before the success because of the groundwork that was laid.
Yeah.
And then the success brought everybody in, and then you weren't satisfied. It wasn't like, oh yeah, you know, we won a couple games. You know, we're not going to be the worst team in the Big 12. It's going through the season. No, we're going to win every game.
Yeah.
No, we're going to be at the top of the Big 12.
Didn't lose at home.
We're going to win the damn Big 12. No, we're going to go to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, screw what everybody else says, but we're doing it our way.
Yeah.
They never sacrificed what they had as an initial vision out there. Jacob says culture will always be key, and Kenny has done a great job with it.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I cover another team that has no culture in the Phoenix
But
Suns.
part of that, yes, as a coach, and Kenny has said this a number of times, you can have a vision for what a culture is, but it is up to the players that you get in that locker room and on the field to build that culture.
But in college, it's up to you to get those players.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's the thing. And I know that he'll want to deflect all the praise and the accolades. He'll say it's his assistant coaches, which is true. He'll say it's his players, which is true. He'll say it's the athletic department for investing in them, which is true. Right? He'll always kind of deflect and say that. But one guy picked the coaches. One guy led the charge on the players and picked the coaches that eventually picked those players.
Yeah.
Right? One guy laid out the vision, and whether he wants to admit it or not, like, he's the head of the snake. And he is the reason why that trickle-down effect has worked. And I'm not trying to take credit away from anybody, but I think if you sat any of the assistant coaches in here, if you sat any of the players in here and you asked them about that and you asked them about Kenny, they would not mince words and how important that he has been for this team, how important he has been for their culture, how important he has been to the fan base.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember talking to fans before the season. It's like, why are you so excited? A bunch of them just started off with Kenny, and then some really long-time fans were comparing him to Frank Kush, which is just crazy if you know anything about Frank Kush, right? So, you know, it does start with him, but it's him empowering those around him to execute his vision.
Yeah.
Because if he tried to micromanage and do it all himself, he would not have been able to do it. If he picked the wrong coaches to surround himself with, he would not be able to do it. If he picked the wrong players to recruit, to carry out that vision, to have the most fun and compete harder than anybody would not work. If he tried to just hold on to talent, try to just say, you know what, we'll retain whoever we can throw money at, even if you don't want to be here. None of that would have worked. And that would have been the easy way and the way that a lot of people do it. So he deserves a lot of credit for it. I'm sure it's not the last time we'll talk about it, but it's not an easy plan to replicate at all.
Absolutely not. Because these are just a couple of the things, right? The things that stick out. The going around the community, going to as many ASU sporting events as you possibly can, being a figure in that ASU community, recruiting locally, right? Whether you get guys or not, still being able to maintain those relationships, because the truth is a lot of players do hit the portal. So let's say a local star is heading into his third year of college football. He enters the portal. Guess what? Kenny and these guys still have that relationship. Maybe these guys want to come home.
When guys enter the transfer portal from his school.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, you know what?
Wish
I wish you the best. I'm going to be the first coach to publicly go out there and praise you. And guess what? Coaches did the same thing afterwards. Because they're like, damn, that's pretty smart, huh?
There's that. There's establishing a pipeline, right, in Texas and California and being able to have a presence there. And then also something that I don't think you see enough of in coaches in college anymore, or I guess in just this day and age, because some of them disagree with, NIL, transfer portal, and just the way that sports are moving. But being active on social media. It sounds silly. It sounds stupid, but we know how big the internet is. We know the reach that it has, right? It is literally endless. So to have a voice on the internet that can connect with Arizona State fans locally and abroad and get them excited, right? It builds. It adds to, hey, how did Arizona State have arguably a bigger contingent of fans at the Peach Bowl than Texas did? Well, it's because Kenny Dillingham is active on social media every single day. It's because Kenny Dillingham's entire staff is active on social media every single day. So this fan base, when there was an opportunity, they were ready and they went to go support a winner, right?
One last thing about the overcoming adversity part that I mentioned earlier. I think very lost in the last season story is the fact that you lost Rashad Samples.
Yeah.
And then you replaced him with Hines freaking Ward.
Yeah. Samp is a great guy, great coach, awesome. By the way.
And I think if you retain Samp, I'm not saying that it's like you got better just because you replaced Samp. Like Samp is going to be one of the youngest head coaches in college football one day.
Yeah, I agree.
Like he is one of the best assistant coaches in college football. It's a reason why he got poached by such a big time school. And it's a reason why he's probably not going to be at that school forever.
Yeah, running backs coach at Oregon now.
And he's going to be a head coach, I would guess, within the next 3 to 4 years in college. But when that happens, you're like, all right, good for you. Wish you the best. I'll say the best things about you possible.
Yeah,
I'm confident in myself that I can get a replacement. And it just so happens to be a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, literally.
Just in case you forgot who Hines Ward
was. Before we go to break, I think that's a great point, right? The two major losses that Kenny has lost on this staff, right? And I'm not even going to consider them both losses, but just departures, right? You obviously moved on from Bo Baldwin as your OC. You replaced him with Marcus Royo, Broyles Award finalist.
Did he win? No, he won.
He won.
I'm pretty sure he won the Broyles Award.
And then you have Rashad Samples, like you mentioned, as your wide receivers coach. Boom, we immediately go get Hines Ward. They didn't lose a step, which is, I think, something that is really, really key when we are talking about Arizona State continuing to try and build off of what they do year over year. So are we?
I'm looking. I could have sworn I saw his speech.
I definitely knew he was a finalist. I don't think he actually won the award. But yeah, it was Al Golden, defensive coordinator.
Ridiculous. Fake news.
I was like, I feel like I would have known.
I swear, I thought that he had a speech.
Maybe he did have a speech.
Whatever. He deserved it.
He did.
He was the only offensive coordinator nominated.
Which says a lot. Which says a whole hell of a lot. So look, we've kind of broken down how Kenny has built a champion over the first 2 seasons at Arizona State and building just a powerhouse trying to move forward. So the question is now, can everybody else replicate it? Can Bobby Hurley do it in what is his last year on his contract? Can Molly Miller do it in year 1, year 2, year 3 at Arizona State? We're going to answer that question and draft some sandwiches on the other side of this break.
Sandwiches. Listen, write down this number right now if you're looking to sell your home. Maybe you were left with a property. Maybe you inherited a property and you don't know what to do with it. You don't even know if it's the right time to sell with everything that's going on right now. Write down this number, 480-776-5231. One more time, 480-776-5231. That's the number to the Carol Royse real estate team. And the best part about it is when you sit down and you say, listen, Carol, I want to sell my home. She's not going to say, all right, here, give it all the sign this. Okay, boom, sold. Made quick buck, get out of my face. No, she's going to talk with you. She's going to talk to you about the market. She's going to talk to you about your home and where it stands and the surrounding areas and how much money you can get for it now. And she's told people straight up to their face, I don't think you should sell your home.
She's going to drop some knowledge.
Yeah, she's going to drop some knowledge. And she's not going to make you just drop money. She's not going to be like, hey, you know what? Sell your home now because I'm going to make a couple bucks But no, she's going to be like, hey, hold on to your home, even if that doesn't benefit her at all.
Yeah.
That's just the type of person that Carol Royse is. Call her today at 480-776-5231 or visit Carol online at carolroysteam.com and tell them PHNX sent you. That's carolroysteam.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Guys, we are just a couple of weeks away from the 2025 NFL Draft, and there is no better place to be during round one than Gila River Resorts and Casinos with our guys, Bo, Johnny, and all those Cardinals diehards. We're having a Cardinals Draft Day watch party on April 24th at Gila River Resorts Casino's Wild Horse Pass in the Upper Deck Bar and Grill for an unforgettable NFL Draft Party and live show presented by Circle K and Gila River. For $99, the ticket is going to include a ton. You obviously get entrance to the Upper Deck Bar and Grill for that live show. You get an all-you-can-eat buffet dinner from 5 to 7 p.m. You get drink tickets, you get raffle tickets for great giveaways, and of course, if you are a diehard, you receive 20% off events. That includes the Cardinals Draft Day watch party. Remember, you do you over at Gila River Resorts Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
I really want to draft sandwiches.
You really want to draft
I
sandwiches?
just started thinking about sandwiches.
We'll get to sandwiches.
Ooh, I'm hungry.
I promise. We will
You know what
get
else I'm hungry
to
for?
sandwiches. You tell me.
Good basketball team.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, I think that's
Please?
fair. I think that is absolutely fair.
What does a guy have to do?
Well, what we just told Bobby everything that he has to do. The question
All right,
is,
yeah,
can
that's
he
that
do it?
segment. Yeah.
Can he do it? Will he do it? Will he get the opportunity to try and follow those steps in what Kenny has done for the next couple of years, or is it too late? Is the image already too bad in Tempe for him to try and rebuild in terms of a roster, in terms of staff belief, in terms of community belief? In terms of recruiting, like all of those types of things. I will also say, before we get too deep into this conversation, I think it is harder to be a college basketball coach, specifically a men's basketball coach in college in college basketball, than it is to be a college football head coach.
Why?
Simply because there are fewer players on the roster, right? These guys immediately can go get ridiculous amounts of money. A guy as a sixth man in college basketball gets more money than what you would probably anticipate a college football player getting, simply because, again, there are fewer players on that roster. And I think because the roster is smaller and limited, you have what seems to be more turnover, right? You look at Arizona State, feels like this is the last 3 years, the roster looks entirely different. You have 2 or 3 returners, maybe if you're lucky. So unless you are a just strict X's and O's guy, being able to actually try and get these guys to run a system offensively, defensively, have the buy-in, see if they can work with freshmen, with sophomores, all those types of things. I think it's so much harder, to be frank with you. I feel like it's guys in basketball are quicker to transfer than in football.
Sure, and you also have not that anybody at ASU was ended up doing this, but you have the one and done.
Yeah.
Part hanging over all college basketball coaches' head as well, where in football, it's like, even if you stay here, you got to be here for 3 years.
You have to be
you could only play at Arizona State, but you could only play for 1 season.
Yeah, right. So I think that is something to acknowledge before we get into that Bobby Hurley conversation. But I want to start in a different route before we get to roster and all that type of stuff. I want to start with the fan base, because we talked about how crucial the fan base was for Kenny, right? This area wants to see a winner, and if they don't, well, guess what? There's so many other sports and teams that they can go watch, right? If you're an ASU basketball fan and they're losing, guess what? I'm ready for spring football. If basketball is losing, I'm gonna go watch the Suns. If
I'm gonna go watch the hockey game,
I'm gonna go watch hockey. I'm gonna go watch the Cardinals. I'm gonna go watch the Diamondbacks. Like, there are so many things that you can do in the Valley that if you are a bad team, the fan base can kind of just throw you away, stick in your pocket until you actually are relevant.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Mill. Like,
you're gonna go. Yeah, you're gonna go to the bars.
It's tough. Is it too late? I don't think it's ever too late. Is it extremely, extremely, extremely late? Which makes
Is the buzzer about to sound?
It's like you're down 7 with 15 seconds left.
Ooh.
Is it impossible? No.
Tracy McGrady scored what, 13 in 9 seconds?
Right, but how often does going from being down 7 with 13 seconds left turn into a win for you?
Not often.
Not often, right? The odds are stacked against you, so you can't say, oh, well, you didn't turn that into a win and be like, oh, well, that's an indictment on you. But the indictment is, hey, you were already down 7.
Yeah.
You were the reason why you're in this position. That being said, All that needs to be done, and it's so simple. You ready? Erik Ruby's fix to the men's basketball program. Win some damn games in conference. Huh? Anybody?
I think it takes more than that. I think it takes more than that.
I think if you consistently win, if you are a competitive team in the Big 12 next year with everything that's gone on, I think that fans will be back in.
I think because Bobby is so late into this process, right? Going on to what, year 11, year 12 at this point at the helm for Arizona State. He doesn't have the same leeway to where, you can just go win some more games.
Sure.
I think the bar is set and clear and in stone, and the line has been, drawn in the sand. If you are not an NCAA tournament team next year.
Oh, that's what happens when you win games in the Big 12.
But not all. Like, there are a number of teams that had better conference records than ASU that didn't get to play in the NCAA tournament.
Okay, yeah. I mean, winning a tournament game.
You have to be an above average team.
You have to win a tournament game.
I think
you have to win a game.
You think?
I think so. I've completely changed my mind.
Yeah, all of a sudden it went from not only do you have to make the NCAA tournament, he added a cherry on top. You have to win a game.
If they make the tournament and they lose, or you have to put up a great fight, like all-time game. You know what I mean? You can't get just blown out, bounced in the first round.
Yeah.
And you got to make the actual tournament, by the way.
Yeah, no more first four.
That doesn't count for me.
First four doesn't count for me anymore. It never really counted for me at this point. Will saying any chance Hurley has on turning it around completely hinges on him changing his coaching style and system. He's just too stubborn to do it. Emily in the chat as well. Chad Johnson, Hunter Zona, what's up, everybody? I think for me that that line is there. I think if Arizona State doesn't hit that point, then we're probably looking at a new men's basketball coach. So I think the leeway that Kenny has or had after year one was pretty clear because it was easy to see the vision, and it was easy to see the situation he was put into. Exactly. Bobby has been here such a long time where it's like, okay, you've run out of excuses now. Yeah. Right. So I think the fan base would forgive if they won a tournament game. Would it be a crazy multi-year extension? No, probably not. Maybe a 1 2 year extension. And does Hurley want that after that? Right.
You know what's funny? Gerald in the chat, not Gerald Bourget, Gerald Salgado, is a Wildcats fan. And he just goes, Bobby Hurley, ASU basketball, where 5 stars go to stagnate, lose, and leave 10 years. And you guys still haven't gotten a grip on that. What do you mean? I think if anybody's gotten a grip on it, it's us.
I don't think either one of us are like on the table, just like, boom, Bobby's winner.
Bobby's being unfairly treated. Yeah. This program is good. No, nobody has talked more crap about this program and about Bobby Hurley than me this season.
We understand the position that Bobby Hurley in Arizona State is in.
And that's part of the reason why his leash is so short and why I don't think he should be coach right now is because you're right. He does get 5 stars. He went into last season with so much positive momentum.
3 top 100 recruits.
So much positive momentum going into last season. And then the non-con play. And it's like, is this team serious? And then, guess what?
They're not.
They're not serious. I think that showed itself when we put a poll in this chat when Koa Pete was uncommitted. It's, do you think that the ASU would make the tournament if Koa Pete commits to ASU? And a majority of people said no. Mm-hmm. That's not a good look. No. That's not a lot of faith. What happened to that documentary? Dead.
Nobody wants to watch a documentary on a team that sucks.
Yeah. Bobby Hurley blew 6-figure donation from James Harden. Well,
I don't think he blew it. He spent it in the right places.
That's what I'm saying. Well, no, he spent it in the right places, then he blew it because there was no success. He wasted the talent, therefore wasting the investment. Is it too late? No. Is it pretty much there?
Almost.
Yeah.
Buzzer's about to sound.
Well, here's the thing. I don't always I'm not always like, this person shouldn't have their job because it's real people, it's real life, and there's a part of that people always forget and it glosses over. But based off of merit, I don't think that he should have.
I also don't have as much care about that of you're sitting behind a screen and a microphone saying this person shouldn't have a job. Yeah, this guy's also had a job for 11 something years making millions of dollars, right? That's part of what comes with these jobs.
Well, and if we were sitting here and doing a show and we did, just was clear that we sucked.
And I was making millions of dollars.
And they let us do it for 10 years. People would be allowed to say what they wanted.
Absolutely, but that comes with the territory. That if you are a Division I's men's basketball coach, you are going to get criticized when you're bad, and you are going to be praised when you win. That's just how it works.
Sure.
Right? So for this program, does it feel like there's been a lot of heat on Bobby lately? Yes. Why is that? Because if you go back for the last 3 years, this program hasn't really moved anywhere. You could argue that it's gotten worse, right? Over the last 3 years.
Anytime it's peaked, there has not been a single time where they've taken, even in season or from season to season, where they've done this, where they've gone up and then they've maintained or continued to go up.
No, it's been a speed bump.
Up, down.
And it hasn't even been that big.
Down.
It hasn't even been as big of a hill or a mountain.
It just looks like it.
It's been a speed bump, dude.
Yeah.
It's barely any like actual height and then just goes straight back down to what it was.
And to be fair, like it's been a lot longer with Bobby, and maybe, and I don't believe this, but maybe Kenny gets 10 years and we're like, oh man, well it's peak and then it's whoa and then it's peak and then it's whoa. It's very hard to be consistent with that. It's really hard. But that doesn't mean that you just be excused for not doing it.
No, agreed.
And it doesn't mean that your baseline should be that low, especially when you are also able to, as Bobby Hurley, like you can't look back and say, well, we haven't had the talent. Think about the talent that has come through this program while Bobby Hurley has been here. We're talking NBA players, right? We're talking from this past year, a potential top 10, top 5 pick in Jaden Quaintance. We're talking about another potential
Kentucky's
first-round
Jaden
pick
Quaintance.
in Joe Sansanin. We are talking about 5 stars among 5 stars, among 4 stars, among good transfers, among current NBA players. Like, you've had the talent.
Talent's there.
Future national champions have walked through that door and put on this jersey.
Yeah. It's tough.
You've had the ability to do it. It's just have you been able to do it and know. And Will says it's a results-based job.
It is.
And it is. And you haven't beat your rival. You don't have really any massively huge moments minus the buzzer beater at McHale, right?
Which was just a...
You have beating Kansas, but then that entire season is marred by the fact that you're almost number 1 in the country, and then you end up not even ranked at the end of the season.
Like, I think that's when you bring up Kenny, like if we're looking back in 10 years and the program has gone into the speed bump, even then you can point back to, hey, Kenny in year 2 won the like there's a conference championship. That means something. And you went deep into the postseason. They were Elite 8 in college football, right? If Bobby had 8 years ago made an Elite 8 and won the Pac-12, I think there would be still some grace.
Sure.
I think it would be like, okay, let's go back to that season and see if you can replicate what they did at that point.
You've shown us that you can do it.
The furthest you've gotten here is the round of what, 64? Like that's as far as you've gotten.
Losing to TCU.
Right? So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, what's the blueprint for Bobby's success? And then you look at it and it's like, okay, well, it doesn't really get us very far. Right. So I think I agree with you. I don't think it's completely sold and gone, but I think it is getting to that point. And I think the pressure on Bobby to try and do what Kenny has done in terms of roster, right? I think there is a giant emphasis on that this year of, hey, can you go get recruits that can have an impact, but not necessarily be the face of your team, right? Can you, because let's be frank, college basketball is pretty much done with that unless you have a top 5 guy in the sport as a freshman. And they don't really make the most ridiculous impact. They make more often than not more mistakes the longer they're out there. So I think
because they're playing up against 25-year-olds.
Exactly. So having some younger guys that can fill those depth roles that Arizona State so greatly, has had lapses in, right? A bunch of problems when it comes to depth. And can you go get quality transfers, whether they're at big schools or at smaller schools that maybe the talent isn't necessarily being exhausted in the right way. And I think when you look at what Bobby has done this offseason and you look to the team, well, you've lost a ton of players. So is a ton of people in college sports. But how have you tried to, fill those gaps? Well, you added a guy from Oakland who is a big dude, right? Projects more as a 4, like I talked about the other day. You went and got Mo Odom, point guard. Where's he from? Pepperdine. Okay, doesn't really blow anyone's skirt up there. Still haven't heard back about Adam Miller, whether he's coming back.
Did you see his tweet?
No, I did not.
Let's see.
You got Trevor Best back, but you lost all your commits, right, from last year. So roster-wise, what are we doing?
Ace Wolf 44 on social says, this month about being humble. That's a wide receiver tweet.
Adam Miller gives wide receiver energy.
He also, right before that, he retweeted Jabari Parker's 2016-2017 age 21 season.
Interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. I think, again, just in terms of roster, Like this year is if you can't tell early on that this roster is functioning like a system, like a team, like a unit, then yeah, it's done. It's over.
Well, and can he do it? Yes, he can. Will he do it? Probably not. We'll just have to watch Clockwork Orange style and see.
Well, from a guy that's been here for over a decade to someone who hasn't even been on the job for 2 months, Molly Miller, can she replicate what Dilly has done? That's the question on the other side of this break. Guys, Pure Edibles. My favorite thing to indulge in on a Wednesday evening, a Friday evening, a Saturday evening.
Don't forget Monday, Tuesday, Thursday,
all
Sunday.
of the days. All of the days. If it's been a long day, make sure you go get yourself some Pure Edibles. You're probably at home thinking like, well, they're gummies, right? They probably taste like weed. No, they do not taste like weed. They literally taste like candy. Pure gummies, they're not even covered in sugar like most of their competitors. They're a full-fledged candy company offering gummies, Kicks, which is their version of Starburst, chews, soft candies like caramel, and then, of course, the hard candies as well. And maybe you're somebody that when you indulge in Pure Edibles, well, maybe you don't want the gummies that are going to help you go to sleep. Maybe you don't want the gummies that are going to uplift you, but you're looking for some other effect. Well, that's what makes Pure Edibles so great, is Pure effects are clearly listed on each tin, so you know exactly what effects you guys can expect. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona.
Listen, your favorite team needs a home court, home field, home ice advantage, right? We talked about how important that is with Mullet, how important that is with Mountain America, and how DFA needs to up their game. But if you're trying to up your game with your floors, Empire Today is the place to call, because they have flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. You don't want somebody cooking your meal that fixes cars most of the time.
Facts.
You want a professional chef. Just ask Captain Redbeard. You want to be able to trust the person who's putting their whole time into something as important as your flooring, and you're not going to be left hanging like these big box stores leave you with Empire Today. You can schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHNX. That's right, $350 discount using promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHNX for full details.
Well, the chat, Bob the Builder, we wish he was.
That's right. He was.
Oh, man. Guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Getting into Molly Miller, the Arizona State women's basketball coach, obviously coming from GCU. This is someone that has had a career of winning kind of wherever she has gone. Most recently with the Lopes, a 30-game win streak at one point last season. Took them to the NCAA Tournament, I believe, for the first time in program history. Not the result that they wanted in that game, but to be able to get GCU women's basketball to that point, I think says a whole hell of a lot. And the fact of the matter is, even before there, she was a winner as a player. She was a winner as a coach. Like everything she did, she was a winning coach. So I think when you look at her trying to follow the footsteps that Dilly has kind of left after his couple of years, I think there are a lot of similarities just between them as people. Mm-hmm. They're both younger. The way that Molly speaks at press conferences, the way that she welcomes media feels very similar to what Kenny does.
She's even said that they're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. I think that goes a long way, because people love Kenny so much. If you can sort of mimic what he has done and the way that he interacts with media specifically, right? Because everything that you see is from media, right? Unless you go see him out at an event, which Molly has already done a number of times, going out to ASU baseball, ASU softball games.
Going on the broadcast.
Like, these are little things.
She was at Diamondbacks games on ASU night.
Yeah. Like, I think that is going to help her get some buy-in immediately in year one. And you look to kind of like we discussed with Dilly in terms of how important that first transfer portal cycle was. Molly kind of following in the same footsteps, going and getting somebody like a Gabby Elliott from Penn State at a big program.
Baller.
And then going and getting Jordan Jones from Denver. Jordan Jones averaging nearly 20 points a game for Denver. So again, like we mentioned with Bobby, the roster is a little bit different. The roster makeup has to be just a little bit different. So I'm interested to see what the recruiting class looks like on that front.
And this season probably isn't going to be the best season under Molly.
It doesn't need to be.
No, and it doesn't. And that's why when you say like follow the Kenny Dillingham blueprint to success, it doesn't mean literally mimic exactly everything he does, but take certain keys and also understand the whole bamboo growing thing, which I'm surprised it took us 45 minutes to get to the point of talking about the bamboo growing.
Love me some bamboo.
But they're in pretty similar spots, right? Like Kenny took over a program that, was consistent beforehand, had never reached the highest of heights, but was good, right? Like under Todd Graham was good, right?
Yeah, they had, I think, back-to-back 10-win seasons.
Then another coach comes in and leaves the program worse than how they found it, right?
In poop.
Yeah, in a very, very bad position, very bad situation. You have mass exodus when it comes to the transfer portal, lots of people leaving, not a lot of fan support. Your program is almost at an all-time low.
Yeah.
Right? Then young, energetic coach who's had success at lower-level programs. Now, the difference is that she's been a head coach. Kenny had not been a head coach. This is his first time being that. But she'd been a head coach. She's seen success. And now she's here and she's full-fledged, excited, like you said, activating the people around her, but also seeing how she interacts with her players, how she interacts with the student section at GCU. And then knowing that infectious energy has come in and automatically kind of washed away some of the baggage that this program already had, while understanding that we have a lot of work to do. And so it's going to be hard to give a full opinion on exactly what she's going to be able to do until we see this roster fill out a little bit more. We get into season and we see some of those building points. We hear from her more in press conferences and availability, but you sometimes just have like a gut feeling about coaches. And I had a gut feeling about Kenny. I'm sure you did too, even though we weren't doing a show together at the time, but you heard him speak, you saw him coach, and you go, okay, results be damned. I believe in this guy.
Yeah.
Right? And if I'm being
You could see the vision.
Yeah. And if I'm being sold a bill of goods, like they're doing a damn good job.
Yeah.
Right? And the same thing with Molly Miller. You see her path of success. You see the way that she gets to GCU, the way that she turned that GCU program around and how she did it. And you go, okay, like I buy that. Like I believe in that. I believe in her approach as a coach, bars. And I think that it's going to end up being good. Now, do I know that for sure? Do I have a crystal ball? No. But I don't have like this weird feeling of, ooh, is it going to work out?
No.
Like you have a very good feeling about where this program's going to be, hopefully in a couple of years, because also it's unheard of in almost any sport to be competing in a national championship, basically, in the college football playoffs in your second year after,
it's
like you can't expect that type of jump in year two.
No, you
can't. And
can't.
Kenny didn't expect that type of jump in year two. So you shouldn't expect that from Molly Miller in 2 years, but 3, 4, 5 years down the line, this program should be consistently good.
I agree. And I think this is where I'll leave off on Molly Miller. I think she is cut from that same cloth as Kenny Dillingham, like she has said a number of times. She understands the sport in today's day and era. Transfer portal, NIL, how you get players to work with one another offensively, defensively, the whole activating the valley thing. That is not something that is just locally to Arizona State. Each and every coach and program has an opportunity to exhaust, what the fan base and the city around it can be. So she understands that. And I think she has an opportunity that Kenny Dillingham didn't have in year one. The fact of the matter is the Final Four for the women's college basketball is in Arizona next year.
You calling it?
I'm not calling
ASU
it.
in the Final Four?
I'm not calling it. But what I am saying is she is an opportunity that for a program with so much history that the Arizona State women's basketball program has, if I'm not saying it will happen.
Be crazy.
But if it did happen, if Molly Miller was able to get the Sun Devils from a team that was pretty embarrassing last year in the Big 12 in a negative way to turning it on its head to a Final Four appearance locally, she would have a fan base ignited in flames, ready at any point to go support ASU women's basketball.
Yeah, it's insane. If that were to happen, a parade in the street.
It's an opportunity.
One can only hope.
One can only hope.
Well, now we have an opportunity.
We do have an opportunity.
I've been looking forward to this.
I know. You've been really hungry for a long time.
Okay, so I told you guys before the show that I'm taking the first pick because I won our most recent draft, the basketball president's draft, the infamous basketball president's draft.
It was also the preseason.
But I still won.
You did win.
Still won.
That's what the pick.
So we're all 0-0, but I
we're
get
all
to choose
0-0. You gonna?
So I'm taking the first pick.
Okay.
And I have a pick that I am desperate to know if you guys will allow.
Okay.
Because I want you to know that if you came with this pick, I would allow it.
Okay. Well, we'll see when we get there.
I just want to
You
put
have the
that
first
out there.
overall pick. I came in second, I believe, in that President's Draft.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take the third pick.
Okay.
And
We're sandwiching Captain on his final draft.
yeah, he's the meat. of the
Nothing
sandwich.
easy, Captain. Nothing handed to you.
Captain
That's true.
Redbeard, you have the second overall pick
All
in the
right.
sandwich draft. Do we have the sounder
I
on
want
there?
Kevin to stay in here
by
so that
chance?
I need your ruling.
Before you play it, I see it. Erik Ruby, you are on the clock.
All right. Am I allowed to take
First overall, by the way.
first overall?
First overall pick is we're asking a question. Go
Can
ahead.
I take the create your own
No,
sandwich?
you cannot. You cannot take
Why
the create
not?
your own
What's
sandwich.
wrong with
Why
because
not?
it's not a sandwich.
Well, yes, it is.
No,
That is
it's not.
absolutely a sandwich.
It's not.
You can walk into any
If I
sandwich
cho-
shop
if I
and you can
told you-
customize your own
If,
sandwich.
if I told you that we were drafting the best books and you said, can I draft a pen and paper?
No, see, that's different.
No,
Though.
it's
That's
not. It's
different.
literally the
That's
exact same
different.
thing.
That
It's
is
the exact
different.
same
The
thing.
create your own sandwich, you can walk into any sandwich
No.
shop and they have an option for it on the menu. On the
Captain,
menu.
how do you feel about
That
this?
defeats the whole point of
It
this.
defeats
You guys
the
are
whole
so
purpose.
lame.
Yeah, you cannot do
so
that.
lame.
The equivalent of saying you're drafting a Madden player and saying career.
Yeah.
All right. Give me fried chicken sandwich.
A fried chicken sandwich is a fire sandwich. See, you could have
I
just
had
gone
a
with
backup
that.
plan.
You
I
could have
wanted
gone
to
with
see.
that.
I had to test the waters, okay? Listen, some of us are rule breakers, okay? I'm towing the line. I had to
At
figure it
least
out.
you asked.
Give
I'll
me
give you that.
give me a fried chicken sandwich.
All right, Captain, where are you going here?
I'm gonna go with French dip.
It's a good sandwich. I don't know if it'd be my second pick, but it's a good sandwich for sure.
It's a great sandwich. I don't know what the heck
what are
you're
you
talking
talking
about.
about?
It's a great sandwich. I said it's a great sandwich.
It might be better. Honestly, I'd rather eat a French dip.
Then a fried chicken sandwich?
Yeah.
You're tripping.
There's some really good French dips.
You're tripping. I agree there are, but you're absolutely tripping.
I get back-to-back picks here.
You do get
Give me my
back-to-back.
two favorite sandwiches. Give me the Cuban.
Okay.
I think a good Cuban is phenomenal.
put good Cuban instead of just Cuban.
Take a Cuban sandwich, and then on the come around, I'm going to take the Reuben.
The Reuben?
The
Okay.
Reuben's a fire sandwich.
I like it.
Back to...
I got double sandwiches here. Two sandwiches.
No. Captain's pick.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. My bad.
Jeez, getting ahead of
My
yourself.
bad.
You're creating your own
Whoa.
draft order too
My
over there?
bad. That'd be pretty fire, wouldn't it?
Let's see. Captain, what do you got? Name one says Reuben was pretty much the right pick. Take the layup. What do you got,
I'm gonna
Captain?
take. With this pick, I'm gonna pick a banh mi.
Ooh.
Good choice.
I do mess. Man,
Fire
I wish we
sandwich.
could. I
Yeah.
really wish we could curse. Say I f with a
That sandwich
banh
is
mi.
getting you going?
I f with a banh mi.
Oh, man.
All right, give me. All right,
That's a great 1-2 punch you got there.
Yeah.
by the
It's
way.
my favorite sandwich.
these are good sandwiches.
Probably.
Kevin does not
I
approve.
know I do. I feel like Banh Mi's gonna be there at Sam Pick 5.
It was definitely.
It was
going to
definitely
be
going to
there.
be there.
I thought
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
I'm not good
definitely
at
be
these.
there.
By the way.
He's just going into year
Yeah,
2.
I'm not good at these,
He's
by
going
the
into
way.
year 2. Okay, he's still a young buck in the draft scene.
Oh, this is
Okay?
all. He's a young buck, but he's retiring after this.
He is.
All right, I got 2 picks back to back. Give me. Ooh, there's a lot of good sandwiches still on the board.
I hope so. We've only drafted 6.
There's a lot of good sandwiches still on the board. Give me a cheese.
Yeah, you fucking...
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Give me a cheesesteak. And then give me a pulled pork sandwich.
Solid picks.
Cheesesteak and pulled pork. And we're just assuming that these are like the best of what they are.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, they're actually all mid.
All mid.
They're like a regular draft. You're drafting off of both floor and ceiling and potential. Because I was gonna say like French dip ceiling is way higher than fried chicken sandwich ceiling, but fried chicken sandwich like floor is way higher than French dip floor.
Yeah, I think that's valid. I don't know if Chad can hear you. Will says tag team of Cuban and Reuben might just sweep the whole draft by themselves. I mean, I love the fact that they rhyme. I've got the
good.
Thompson brothers
It's good,
here,
yeah.
a men and a sore. I'm gonna go ahead on the come around. I'm gonna take my point guard pretty much the guy that's going to be dishing and really leading this thing. Give me the grilled cheese.
Yeah, that was my next pick.
Or
That was
actually,
what I was
no,
considering.
is it captain's pick? It is. It's
Oh,
back
it
to
is captain's pick.
Wow, it is captain's pick.
Look at you.
Yeah, wow.
Take the grilled cheese.
I'm not
Captain.
taking a grilled cheese.
Oh,
Thank you.
Captain.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm going to take a po' boy.
A po' boy's good answer. It's a
Fire
good
sandwich.
Answer.
I was about to be so hurt if he took.
He should have.
I mean,
A guy like
he's
me,
a good guy.
Guy like me would have taken
you
grilled
takes that
cheese.
sandwich.
100.
Guy
Even
like
if
you
I
takes that
wasn't,
sandwich.
even if I wasn't gonna take grilled cheese, if that wasn't my pick, I would have taken.
I'm
grilled
taking
cheese.
grilled cheese.
That would have been my pick though. So okay, now you got 2.
Now I got.
It is your turn.
Thank you. I don't know why we have such a tough time.
It's
like
bad.
just doing a.
Well, it's because
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so yeah, I'll take the grilled cheese with my third pick there. It's a classic, like Sharon says. I think it's a phenomenal point guard to have in this draft. I'm gonna take my. Where do I go here?
There's some heavy hitters still on the board.
There's some. I'm gonna do what you're doing.
Grilled cheese is your first one.
Is my first Yeah.
There's a couple more out there
That are top tier.
Yeah, there's one that it's not going to pull up on the list that you're pulling up, but I do think.
Give me a meatball sub.
Yeah, meatball sub.
Meatball
was
sub.
definitely up.
I think.
You know, I was thinking meatball sub, but I feel like it would have been like I got too much in like the big meat.
I think that's
category.
fair.
I got too much big meat on my team.
I feel like I feel like a meatball sub is like he's my big man. Right, I'm not going to him.
That's your center?
I'm not going to him like at all times,
But, like-
especially not with a Cuban and Ruben there.
8 and 6.
Oh, no, he's more like he reminds me a lot of like
He's your Andre Drummond.
He's my rebound guy, right? He's a Hall
your
of
Sean
Famer. He's the
Phillips.
Hall of Famer at what he does.
You're Sean Phillips.
He's my meatball sub. That's where I'm going.
You're Romello White.
He's my Daquan Lake.
Yeah. Okay. So back to captain.
Okay, with this one, I need to look at some sandwich options here.
Some
You got one in the chat that people are saying has slipped.
Oh, really?
which I would agree.
I would agree. It's definitely on my radar, but I don't know if it would be. In my next
It's
pick.
not. Yeah,
It's a good
I'm not even
sandwich.
gonna pick that.
It's a
Great
good sandwich.
Sorry,
It's a great
guys.
sandwich.
I don't know. Captain said, "Screw that."
I'm going lobster roll, man.
Lobster roll's a great
good
pick. Great pick.
Lobster roll is fire.
Good pick with the lobster roll. I like that. All right. So my final 2 picks.
These are important for you, by the
Yeah,
way.
these are important. I feel like I need a little diversity, right?
I want you to know that you guys, you played a great game.
Oh, shut up.
You played a great game. I'm really happy that you guys put on this performance to open the season. It's just unfortunate that it's going to be in a losing effort.
Sure, man.
Okay?
Sure, man.
This is what I'm doing, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great for you, man.
Go ahead.
All right.
That's crazy, Kevin.
Kyle running away with this right now is insane.
Wow, thank you.
All right. Give me. Ooh, I'm debating between. I could just talk these out because these are my 2 picks. BLT is definitely on the list.
Yeah.
Club sandwich, definitely on the list. Club sandwich bangs. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
All right, it was on my draft board.
Also on the list.
It was on my draft
that's
board.
That's just a good go-to broke person.
Didn't
meal.
like how PB&J tested at the combine, but
Okay.
wait,
That's
we
I
saw the
think
tape. We know what it can do.
PB&J and grilled cheese are in the same family.
It's like Pete Maravich. Was once a goat, but like the skills, like they're just not as big.
Oh, Pete Maravich translates to today's
The game is changed. The game has changed. I think grilled cheese still outdoes PB&J, but that may be just me.
Give me the club sandwich. Give me a club.
Bringing us home with the club.
The club, and then you know what? Give me the PB&J for diversity reasons. I got fried chicken, cheesesteak, pulled pork club. Give me a little PB&J. There's jokes here I'm not gonna make.
You made it. You made the joke.
No, there's more jokes that I'm not gonna make.
Wow. I mean, I think
I got OBJ apparently in the draft.
I think the value for PB&J is good.
Oh, yeah, I like PB&J with the last pick. I wouldn't have reached for it, but
right, Captain.
I was gonna take lobster roll, or meatball sub.
Your last pick.
All right, I'm going Italian.
Solid.
Okay, that's a good pick. It's a good pick. BLT still on the board for you.
BLT still on
BLT
the
would
board.
be a good final pick. What else are you considering?
I don't think I'm considering anything else. I
Really?
already know what I'm taking.
Oh, and it's not BLT.
It's not the BLT.
Wow, BLT undrafted,
Undrafted
sandwich.
I mean,
draft.
yeah. wanted way too much money, all sorts of stuff. I'm going to bring home my sandwich draft with something that nobody else has. I'm going to go ahead and take the ice cream sandwich. All right, I think that brings me home. It rounds out my team, and I feel good about that pick. I really do.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
Erik, so you want to just, again, kind of repeat what you have as your squad here?
Fried chicken goes 1-1, which I think is completely fair.
Do you want to give me who's point guard?
Fried chicken's my star center. My Hakeem
Star center.
Olajuwon, my
Okay.
Shaq. Cheesesteak is my sharpshooter from deep.
Love it. Love
like
that
my
pick.
Peja Stojakovic, my Klay Thompson, that's my cheesesteak.
Okay.
Right? Pulled pork is my do-it-all four, right? Like my David West, my LaMarcus Aldridge, like it's consistent. There's not a lot going on there, but they're going to give you buckets. Going to get you in the post, stretch the floor out a little bit, let fried chicken work down low.
High
right?
cholesterol issues,
Right.
though.
Club is my... Club's my point guard, right?
Interesting.
Club is basic. Club is classic. Club is very, very good. A lot of the basics going on there, but they're just so good at the fundamentals. They're dishing out the rock. It's like my Rondo, right?
Okay.
And then at my 2, it's PB&J. Kind of like a Tony Allen, very limited in what they're able to do, but the best at what they can do.
Okay.
Right? They're just going to lock you up. They're going to do what they do. You're not going to ask too much of them, and they're going to get the job done.
I like it. I like what you got. Captain, you're up.
All right. Italian's my point guard. And then the rest of my team is
Ricky
big.
Rubio.
I got a bunch of big guys.
Italian?
No, Ricky Rubio is Spanish.
The rest of my team's centers and power forwards. And one
Just
point
all
guard.
big.
Yep.
All bigs. Lobster roll, po' boy, banh mi, French dip, and an Italian. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
man.
true.
I like it.
Banh mi's a perimeter player.
He dabbles.
He dabbles.
Dabbles.
He's starting to develop that shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At my 1, I've got the grilled cheese, right?
Okay.
He's not somebody that's going to be crazy scoring, but he is dishing 15 assists a game. I like ice cream sandwich at the 2.
Okay.
Is just an absolute sniper.
It's interesting.
From 3. He's not on every game, right? But there are moments in the season where you turn to
I feel
that
like
guy.
ice cream sandwich more a 6-man. I feel like you're missing a starter here.
Potentially. It's we're still working on the rotation, just like Bobby is, you know.
Better hope you're not Bobby.
My 3 and my 4, I've got the Thompson brothers, men and a sore here at the Cuban and Ruben.
That's good.
And then my big man is the meatball sub.
Yeah, it's good.
Bringing us home.
It's good. Good
So-
draft. Good drafts all around. Tell you what, I would eat all of these sandwiches.
I would eat all of these
I'd
sandwiches.
eat every
as well.
single one, and I think I'm going to go eat something right now.
That's fair. We will turn this into a poll and put it out there on the Twitterverse for everybody to vote on. So be on the lookout for that, PHNX_Sun Devils. And if you enjoyed today's content, you can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow this guy at Erik Ruby. You can follow the captain of this lovely ship, Captain Redbeard, at K Coop Sports. And guys, we will see you on Thursday for some more spring football. But in the meantime, go Devils. And peace.
We all silly like the mayor.